Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome to my channel. I do hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back once again. So my usual disclaimer, please, this video is strictly for educational purposes. Do not go searching out anybody that I talk about in this video. Don't send them any form of hate comment, threats, or violence. This channel does not support any of that. So before we get into today's video, I just wanted to state that I was off for a while and I'm gradually coming back. I was off because I had a baby. Yes, I have a daughter, so you're officially internet aunties and uncles. My daughter is saying hello to you guys. I'm just carrying her right now while doing this voice note, so I'm trying to get a balance between doing this whole new mom thing and getting back to work full time. So please, you guys, be patient with me, but I'm going to be putting out videos and I'll probably try to get back to filming when I can, but in the meantime, please bear with me, okay? So thank you for all your kind wishes and the congratulations in the comment section and in the community post where I announced my baby's birth. So today's video is something that was actually very triggering for me, and it happened about a week ago, but I said I was definitely going to talk about it. So there's this video that went viral of a palm-colored woman who had a lot to say about Beyonce, about black people generally. Let me just go right ahead and play her video.
So Beyonce released Cowboy Carter, her country album, and it's doing very well, but some people have a problem with it. It's okay if it's not your cup of tea, like maybe you don't even like country music. What's not okay is if you think the problem is that black people don't belong in country music.
I'm sorry, but if you're black, you're not country. I don't care. Like, and I wish I meant that in the nicest way. But like, babe, I know you were raised in the country, or your grandparents were, I guess, your great granny and grandpas, but they was picking, okay? They wasn't planting. Just keep that in mind. They wasn't making money. It was getting sold for money. You ain't country.
So seeing that clip, I couldn't verify where that video was made, if it was on the TikTok app itself or if it was just a clip that she had made that had circulated on TikTok, but it had a lot of people talking. And following the Beyonce Cowboy Carter country music album release, I knew that Beyonce received some kind of hate and backlash because she's doing country music, and apparently some rate to the sixth palm-colored people feel like black people have no business in country music. So this whole rant for me was not something isolated. I know that a lot of Ray to the Six palm color people have expressed that they do not think Beyonce or even black people have any business doing country music. But you see, this woman took it to another level, talking about how black people's ancestors, particularly Beyonce's parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, were picking and not planting and being sold for money. And you guys, my jaw dropped when I heard her go off. If she had just stopped at gatekeeping country music from black people, yes, that is bad in itself, but her going the extra mile to talk about slavery and sounding like it's something she's proud of, and obviously pro-slavery, was what ticked me off. And I was like, we have to talk about this. So a lot of people, as you would expect, had a lot to say. Let me just go right ahead and play some of the stitches to her video.
They was picking, okay? They wasn't planting.
Racism is a public health issue. So let me tell you why we as black nurses have to be 20 times better. It really saddens me that the majority of nursing content on this app is surrounded by the aesthetics of nursing, because we got real problems such as things like this. We absolutely need more black healthcare providers. It's people like this that's slipping through the cracks that don't give a rat's tailbone about us. I've seen it firsthand, and I've advocated for my patients to the point of tears. Standing by and actually watching this and seeing this happen is so frustrating, especially when you can't do anything about it because you're just a nurse. Racism in healthcare leads to poor patient outcomes, delays in patient care, misdiagnosis, sometimes even death. And it's not just a black people problem. It's black people, Hispanics, Middle Eastern, you name it. Whenever I'm precepting a student, whenever I'm talking to nursing students, I always tell them that you have to be 10 times better than the rest. We have to know what we're doing, not only because they think we're dumb when we walk in the room, but we need to know enough to be able to advocate for our patients, especially people that look like us. People of color symptoms are often overlooked and we're just called anxious or dramatic. That's why I get so annoyed with the discourse on this app. Like, let's stand for something. We got to start uplifting and encouraging young black healthcare professionals to be better. If you see them and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then pull them aside and as a sister, uplift them. We have to learn how to lift as we climb instead of being crabs in a bucket. Because y'all are overshadowing the real problems. And as for this young lady, this girl, Indiana State University, I am just infuriated with the way that this has been handled. You cannot fix racism. She shouldn't be a nurse.
It wasn't making money. It was getting sold for money.
Question. Is it ever worth losing your education? Is it worth you potentially never getting a job again? How is it Beyonce have all you people so triggered? And when I say people, that word that begins with the letter R, over country music. Crazy part is this girl's very young. She wasn't even around for that R-word stuff that was happening years ago. She's like however many generations later. How are you comfortable saying that confidently, publicly, knowing that there are repercussions that come behind stuff like this? How does saying something so disrespectful, so nasty, further you in any career path in life? It doesn't. I feel like the world should start treating people who do stuff like this as criminal acts and be jailed for it. I don't know. Maybe it will happen, maybe not. Probably not in my time here. But we talking about country music, something that was influenced by black people. So I don't see what the issue is. You way too young, love. You got way too much potential to waste it like this. It ain't worth it. Respectfully, of course.
Yay, country.
She said that with her whole chest, posted it on Beyonce's internet and thought everything was going to be okay. We're going to get back to her. But let's get this out of the way. Country music would not exist without black people. If you knew anything about the genre that you claim to care so much about, you would know that hillbilly music, which is what became country music, was directly inspired by the spirituals and field songs of black slaves that they have been creating and singing for hundreds of years. But I'll go one even better. The banjo is a black instrument. The modern-day banjo is a descendant of the West African instrument made from gourds called the akonting. When enslaved persons were taken from Africa to America, their instruments came with them. For 400 years, enslaved people created their own music, hymns, spirituals, and field songs, all with roots in African music. Accordingly, in the 1840s, the banjo was seen exclusively as a black instrument. It was unheard of for a white person to play the banjo. No black people, no country music. But apparently, Ozza Banton, the Indiana State University student who made that video, didn't get the memo. And I've had a bunch of other students from that school reach out to me because she posted this right after that album was released. And literally 2 weeks went by and Indiana State University didn't seem to have shit to say about it. Now, the other day, they did finally kind of say something about it. They put a statement buried at the bottom of the student newsletter that basically said, we're aware of a video, we're monitoring it, does not align with our personal views. Guess what? The students who have been reaching out to me, that's not enough for them. That's why you had protests on campus yesterday. And I think you can expect a lot more until you take some sort of real action and make a real statement and draw a line in the sand that says if you're going to think and act this way, you can find another school to attend.
No. On behalf of all nurses, I'm going to say we don't want you. We don't want you in our profession. There's no room for racism, homophobia, bigotry, Islamophobia, anything. There's no room for that. You've got to be able to take care of people of every race, religion, orientation, anything and everything, everyone, with compassionate care. And you can't do that. We don't want you.
The vile, nasty things I want to say about this woman. Okay, but this is what I will say. I hope you never can nurse one more motherfucker because you are a sickness. I took a class at TSU about African American studies in 2017. It's HBCU here in Nashville. And what I learned was I was asked in the beginning of the class to say why I think systemic racism exists. I was like, oh, lack of education. And the professor who was from Memphis, and she's amazing, she said, Mr. Waite, your theory is flawed. Some of the most brilliant minds were some of the most racist, bigoted, sexist, nasty, vile people that have ever existed. And I was like, well, damn. And what I learned is that vileness, that evil inside of her, that was taught to her by her mama and her daddy at the dinner table, her grandpa and her grandma out, just talking about the, yeah. And here's the thing. It's indoctrinated in her. It is just like ABC 1, 2, 3. Black people ain't country. And for you to say, I wish I meant that in the nicest way possible. Oh, shit. If I was in Indiana and a girl, I would come drag your ass, okay? Because the color of your skin has nothing to do with your character. You weren't so good in the womb that God said, oh, I'm gonna make you white, girl. No, it's your ancestry's location. How close, how far from the equator. Isn't that some shit? We didn't choose this. And people be like, Cody, you hate your whiteness. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't put value on it, okay? I don't. What I hope for you is that one day you're picking trash up off the side of a highway, bitch. I don't know. Or I hope you end up a champion. That's what I hope. I hope you end up a champion. Because you know what? I hope your ass is picking out the shoes in the stock room for a black man to buy them from you. I hope you're working at a restaurant and you're picking up shit off the floor that a black person threw on the floor. That's what I hope. Because you don't deserve anything. You sure fucking don't need to procreate with that attitude. Because your mom and your daddy and your grandpa and your grandpappy, they failed you.
For those who are unfamiliar, this is Asa Blanton. She is a nursing student at Indiana State University. And this particular video of her voicing her opinion about what is country music, what is not country music, I want to set all that aside. I don't care if you like Beyonce or not. It doesn't bother me. But what the real concern I have is that you are getting ready to enter the medical field, a field that is already so divisive, already filled to the brim with racism, already filled with plenty of people operating off of internal biases. And every year we get another report of how another black woman giving birth dies because she wasn't listened to, or more black people die because their pain wasn't taken seriously enough, or how medical students to this day still believe some of the most bigoted and vile things about black people, like that we have a higher tolerance for pain, or that our skin is somehow thicker and so they don't need to be as gentle with us when doing certain procedures. And then you have Asa's video coming out where she talks about picking crops and being sold in such a flippant way, the same way someone would tell someone that it was raining outside. No type of humanity. And while I know that Indiana State University is probably not going to do anything to correct this behavior, although they should, I would challenge any hospital or any organization that would consider Asa Blanton to reconsider. Do you really want someone who is so openly inhumane about a damn Beyonce album to work on your staff, to help bring babies into the world, to help do procedures on people? People like Asa let you know that they don't care about different people. They're not going to handle our situations with as much kindness or compassion or care needed for the nursing field. And for all the great nurses that are out there, Asa would be a stain on that legacy. So I would challenge any organization that would even consider bringing Asa on. You might want to reconsider, because if she's going to be this vile about a Beyonce album, what is she going to be like in the procedure room? Just something to think about.
You know what gets me out of everything that has happened, that has transpired surrounding this whole thing, is the fact that this woman is supposed to be a nursing student. This woman is potentially going to be a nurse, potentially going to have people's lives entrusted in her care. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the hospital, either to visit someone who is ill, or if you've been ill yourself and desperately in need of medical help, and knowing how fragile your situation is and how much impact the medical professionals, including the nurses, can have at the possible outcome of you going to the hospital. So imagine being put under the care as a black person, under the care of a woman like this who has such prejudice against black people. I cannot even imagine being that fragile and in need of medical care, and that is the person who has to attend to me as a black person, someone who has such shameless bias against black people, someone who has such prejudice against black people, someone who did not hesitate to say with her full chest how much she obviously is pro-slavery, because that was what that statement basically meant. In my opinion, that is the way that I interpreted what she said. And then with everything that happened, I actually found this video of this TikToker who tried to reach out to her via a phone call. Let's just play that video.
Everybody meet Asa. Now Asa has gone viral for all the wrong reasons, and I got her on the phone. But let me break down why she went viral in the first place before we get into that. She said, "I'm sorry, if you're black, you're not country. I know you were raised in the country, or your grandparents were, but they was picking okay. They wasn't planning. They wasn't making money. They were getting sold for money. All of that because Beyonce dropped the country album." Now I tried to call her daddy.
Hey, this is Donovan. Sorry, can't take your call right now. Leave your name and number, and I'll get back with you.
And her mama.
This is Sonia. Leave me a message, and I'll get back to you. Thanks. Bye.
But they were smart enough not to answer. Let's see how smart you are.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Is this Asa?
Who's calling?
Well, hello there. Now I immediately brought up her viral video
About the current situation and everything that's going on. Obviously, I know you're fully aware of it.
I really don't want to speak on this topic.
Oh, all of a sudden you don't want to speak now, huh? Don't worry. I'll get it out of you.
I understand that. I understand where you're coming from, but I just don't really feel like it's smart for me to comment on something without a lawyer present, because it's just going to continue to get twisted up.
What would get twisted up?
The story.
What about the story would get twisted?
The entire thing, just like everything else has gotten twisted so far. I just don't feel like I need to comment on it anymore, because it just keeps getting twisted, and I just don't feel the need to comment on it anymore.
Getting twisted. How is that? Because in this moment you thought you were putting black people in their place.
Why do you feel like black people can't do country music?
No comment.
Okay, let me ask you this. Since you don't want to comment on anything, do you feel like people were upset for a good reason?
Rightfully so, yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, people are upset for the wrong reason, because the story continues to get twisted up.
What?
So I'm not going to comment on the story anymore.
So let me get this straight. People were upset for the wrong reasons because you said that black people weren't country and that they were picking cotton, not making the money?
Can you tell me what people have been trying to twist the story on?
I'm sorry, I just don't really want to comment on it, because like I said, people are going to continue to twist it, and I just don't really want to comment on it anymore. I'm sorry.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to understand how people twisted it, because I haven't seen any.
And she hanged up on me, but I called her again.
Hello?
Okay, so let me try it this way.
And she hanged up on me again. So I waited a little bit, let things calm down, and then I called her a third time.
Hey, I know we talked earlier, and I wanted to see if you had time to think about it.
So after the text you had sent, I really don't think that I will be speaking about it at all. Like I told you several times, I have no comment.
Oh, you mean this text message where I said your no comment speaks volumes?
Okay, well, since you said that, I think that no matter how the public perceives it, either way, you're supposed to be unbiased. So I don't have any comment.
Well, it's kind of hard to be unbiased when you're telling that black people were picking and not making money. That's something you kind of got to be biased on, because if you're pro-slavery, that's a really bad thing, right?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but is journalism not something that's unbiased? Like, you can correct me, but is that not correct? Like, I thought journalism is supposed to be unbiased.
Journalism is unbiased, but absolutely, but there's lines, right? Like, if there's a story on, say, Hitler I'm not going to be pro-Hitler, right? If there's a story on pro-slavery, I'm not going to be pro-slavery. There's certain lines and barriers that you just don't cross because it's just immoral by complete standards. So yeah, absolutely, I have no problem being unbiased, but like those lines I will not cross.
Okay, well, like I said, I have no comment, and please do not call me again.
Okay, are you for slavery? Okay, so if I would have been unbiased and would have had your kind of mindset, you wouldn't have spoken to me. But because I'm against slavery, you're silent. That young lady speaks volumes. Now, for the ones who don't know, she's studying to be a nurse at the Indiana State University. And I'll end it on this. This black queen said, hospitals are to black women what cops are to black men. And this person should never be in the care of any human being, especially a black person. My name's Eric Stone. Doses.
So from that video, you can see that she obviously, as usual, as expected, is trying to avoid taking accountability. I mean, typical palm color Karen behavior. I'm not surprised. She's now saying that her words have been twisted. And I'm wondering, how can your words be twisted when you're caught on camera saying these things? Twisted by who? In what way? Okay, can you at least clarify to us what you meant to say that was possibly taken out of context? Can you at least defend yourself if you really didn't mean what we thought you said? No. And then of everything that happened, apparently there's no real repercussions. The school where she's studying nursing released a statement, but I don't think there's any serious repercussions or backlash for what she did.
I'm just getting sold for money.
Earlier in the week, I posted a video about how that Indiana State University student had posted that video after Beyonce's album release and how it upset other students there on the campus, and they wanted the school to take action about it. The local press has picked up the story. I did an interview with the news station there. They also interviewed the student who had initially reached out to me about the situation. I'm just going to play that for you really quickly, and then I have an even further update.
An Indiana State University student's social media post hit a national nerve, but not in a good way.
I'm sorry, but you're black. You're not good.
We've chosen not to use her name and blur her face. The controversial video was posted right after Beyonce dropped her country album on March 28th.
I'm just getting sold for money.
While the video was racking up views online, ISU student Imani Mark says the school was slow to respond.
The zero tolerance policy is not there. So I don't want this to be a situation that goes away.
So Marks reached out to TikTok content creator Tizzy Ent from Florida with over 6.2 million followers. Tizzy Ent spoke to Wish TV about why it's not just an Indiana issue, but a national one.
Allowing this kind of stuff to be put out into the world and then just acting as if it didn't happen or ignoring it and not addressing it in very strict terms begets more of that.
Students protested during Eclipse Day Monday. The university has since issued a statement saying the students' comments do not align with our institutional values. We reaffirm our commitment to fostering an inclusive environment. For Marks, a simple statement is not enough.
I want this kind of example, this situation to be an example so that the school knows that there are minority students here who care and who are their lives are being interrupted.
So we reached out to the university for additional comment, but they have yet to respond. The ISU Black Alumni Network issued a statement demanding that the university president address the issue immediately.
It would seem the school is reluctant to respond even to the local press about what's been going on. In fact, I was told, and this is third hand, but I was told that several department heads have made it clear that they were told by the school not to issue statements, not to address it, despite the fact they would like to. Also, they had to block her face and everything and protect her. And it's kind of funny to me that someone who does something terrible oftentimes will be protected in the news unless they're charged with a crime. But at the same time, the protests that happened, there were several students who were out there protesting. One of them was a young black woman who I'm told was front and center, and she was on the local news, in the newspaper, an image of her standing there in protest. And after that newspaper came out and showed that, where you can clearly see her, and anyone who knows her would know who it is, you know what happened to her? They vandalized her car. They threw stuff all over her car. They put several very large dents in the driver's side door that frankly looked like they kicked the door. And considering her car was the only one on a street full of cars that was touched, it felt targeted. Also, over the last couple of days, I've gotten a few messages from people who are, I guess, the girl in the video's friends, who have been like, oh, you're so dumb to think this was about Beyonce. This was about guys at our school. So it's not just about Beyonce, a public figure. It's about specific other students, and you think that somehow makes it better? Because it doesn't. And that is true because their mother has spoken out, and I'll give a whole separate video to that when I get a little more information. But in the meantime, I'll say this. Indiana State University, while this may not align with your views, it doesn't seem you've communicated that very well with your students. And you might want to work on that.
So, according to this source from within the university, allegedly, Ms. Blanton is not being expelled from Indiana State. While she is not on campus anymore, she is allegedly being allowed to finish online, which with nursing, I'm pretty sure clinical hours are involved there, so she's not allowed to do those apparently either. From what I understand, apparently it's not just the university not coming out and saying anything. Allegedly, employees have been told to stay silent. Essentially the weather the storm thing. Oh, this will calm down and then we'll eventually do what we gotta do. Now, I understand some people are going to be really upset about that response. And I have to agree with them. You can't let somebody like that become a nurse if they have ideals like that.
And I'm just shaking my head at this point. Like, black people will be the most disrespected people. Someone will come out on the internet and say something that could possibly damage their career or ruin their life and prospects if we're living in a sane society. But they will get away with it. Why? Because the disrespect was targeted towards black people and nobody really cares. And it's funny how, as iconic as Beyonce is with everything that she has achieved, with the wealth that she has achieved, with the corridors that she has been able to enter by virtue of her stardom and talent, that she can even be disrespected on this level. How much more we regular black folks? Anyway, did you guys hear about this? I want to know what you guys think. Please drop your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.